Terra Luna Classic validators just went against the community. Let's talk about what's happening. Currently, 2 proposals exist to try and push for limiting the maximum voting power that a validator node could have. For anyone who doesn't know, if you go over to staking, you can see voting power on these different nodes. You'll see some of these top nodes, they have a really high percentage of control of voting power. Now, this is not necessarily inherently an issue, right? Let's say the validator agrees with the community's desires. It could, in theory, be a good thing. However, the big risk here really is hacks, and at least that's my opinion, that the big threat here could be these validators becoming compromised. Because let's say, for example, LUNC DAO right here, these guys, they support the community a lot, they tweet a lot of funny stuff there for sure, but they support the community. They have 10% voting power. If they got hacked, however, and their voting power got hijacked, in theory, the hijacker could use their voting power to actually vote against the community's desires. Now, what's interesting happening here is that if we go over to governance, 2 proposals were pushed forward. One to limit the voting power to 5%, and another one to limit to 10%. You can see the one that was pushed forward to try and limit the voting power to 5%. A lot of these validators voted no, and no with veto, and it's not looking like this is going to pass at all. And that's kind of disappointing to see, that these validators would rather keep a large chunk of voting power. And the reason for that, of course, is that means that more tokens are staked to their validator node. They're going to earn more commission on those tokens staked. And so it's a little concerning to see these validators voting no and going against the community's needs and desires of decentralization and wanting to distribute power a little bit more. And of course, who wants to give up power when they have it, right? But I think this is something really important for us to highlight, particularly which ones I can find that voted no. And I'm going to give you an example right now. So I'm going to show you guys this process and how you can replicate this. You can go over to the staking tab. You can see the list of validators, sort by voting power, and see all nodes has the most voting power. We can scroll down here and actually see operator address. Let's click on that. Okay, this pulls up the validator details and it has a account address. So if we click on that one, it's going to let us see the balance for this account. So you can see how much tokens they hold for all these different cryptocurrencies. We can actually scroll down and see their transaction history right here. Let me zoom in and make that a little bit bigger for you guys. What's really cool is we can actually see these things that are type. You can see the type section, MSG vote. MSG vote. This is them voting on proposals. So what we can do here is we can click and say, hey, which one was this that they were voting on? They voted no on 4736. So we can go back over here, go to governance, and see 4736 is this proposal right here, which was to cap voting power at 10%. 4737 is capping at 5%. So let's go back over to their wallet and see, okay, so 4736, they voted no. What about this other one that they voted no? So let's scroll back down to the transactions, and we're going to open up this one, and we can see here's a different one. Okay, so they voted no on one of these, but not necessarily the other one. But if we do open up a couple more, we'll see, yep, 4737, they also voted no on this. Now, this is really important to highlight because these validators, of course, they don't want to give up control. And this is a great example. This is the node with the most staked power, the most voting power, I should say. And they don't want to give that up. Why would they? They have almost 20% voting power right now. And it's a little bit questionable, and you could wonder what's going on here. Potentially, they have 0% commission. So why does it really matter to them how much power they have? Maybe they just want to stay at the top of the list as a flex. I don't really know what's going on here, but this is something important to highlight of they have 20% voting power. Them alone could seriously put a risk to the future potential of Terra Luna Classic. Now, I don't think that they necessarily have bad intentions generally. I haven't seen a lot of that happening. However, this is definitely a concerning sign. Why are they voting against decentralization? And these are some of the questions we need to ask ourselves. What's actually going on here? Why does this validator node not want to distribute power? Of course, right? Why would you want to give it up? But is there something malicious going on here potentially? I don't know. And those are the questions that we need to ask as a community. And we need to seek out, why are these validator nodes? And it's not just this one, by the way, right? For this to be able to get this much of a no vote, 46 and 16, that means that a couple of these top validator nodes, and I've looked at a couple of these other ones, but we're just going to show the one example here. A couple of these top validator nodes with the high voting power have voted no on making this network more decentralized, right? And at the end of the day, I find that personally as a red flag. I think that they're working against us in that sense, because for us, we need to be protected as a community from hacks. There have been so many major news articles of big hacks happening in the past couple months, large amounts, over $100 million of crypto. Of course, Terra Luna Classic has way more value in their ecosystem than that. But if the network did get hacked and there was a serious issue that happened here, there could be some bad proposals pushed forward that were malicious. So I think that's really important for us to push for this decentralization and just really add that extra layer of security where we don't have to worry about these things in the future, and we can just kind of vote and give with the people that we believe is going to serve us best, not necessarily the people that go with just the cheapest commission or that have a lot of voting power and a lot of authority already. Now, if you do want to stake your Terra Luna Classic, check out my video right up here so you guys can actually see how to stake and some of that information that's critical for you to be able to earn, not just only participate in the community, but also earn an insane yield on your tokens.